Last year, I filmed a video which told you exactly how I was going to save £10,000 on a low income. I told you could do this regardless of your income, and in this video I'm going to explain exactly how I saved not only £10,000 but significantly exceeded this. There's lots of different ideas and things that you're going to be able to do exactly the same regardless of your income, regardless of how much money you're earning day to day. There's lots of tips on here, so stick around. We're going to go into the nitty-gritty, details after details, what you can do to save well over £10,000. The first thing you're going to want to do, and of course it's the most obvious one, is to start with your budget. This has been said time and time again on this channel, on any other channel. You need to know exactly how much you've got coming in on a month-to-month basis, and also need to know exactly how much you've got coming out every single month. Because if you don't know these baseline numbers and you don't know exactly what you're spending, there's no way you can begin to start to save any amount of money, let alone £10,000. So let's start at the beginning. You've got your pay slip, you've got your income, whatever that is. You're going to write that down, and then you're going to go over all your basics. Your main things that you need to consider are your groceries, your utilities, and your rent or your mortgage. And these should total hopefully around about 50% of your overall income. But 30% should be spent on your rent or your mortgage, and then you're looking at around 10% on your utilities, your bills, maybe another 20% on your groceries, depending on how many's in your family, of course. If these numbers are nowhere near your 50%, and it doesn't matter if they're a little bit more or a little bit less, if you're not at 50%, you need to start thinking about where you can start to make cutbacks so you've got that percentage hitting okay. Because if you can't do that, there's no way you can start to save. So let's just say, right, you've got your budget sorted. You know exactly what you've got coming in, you know what's going out, you know what fluid income you've got left at the end of all that, so you know what you're able to spend on treats or on clothes or going out or saving and investments. And it might be that there isn't anything left over, and that's where this video is going to come into play, because I'm going to give you lots of ideas now to tell you how you can save money, just like I've done over the last 12 months. When I put that video out last year, a lot of the comments were, yes, but I haven't got enough money. If you watched the video said that it was irrelevant of how much you have got coming in. What actually matters is what extra things you need to do. Nobody's going to sit there and hand you a load of money for doing nothing, for doing exactly the same thing that you do over and over. You've got to find new ways of making more money. If you want more money, it's not going to be straightforward. You're going to have to actually put in some legwork. There are lots of different ways, and there's loads of videos on here promising how you can make passive income, promising how you can make extra side hustle income, and I've spent the last few years going over all these things and looking at whether these things actually do work. And I'll tell you the ones that have worked for me, and I'll tell you the ones that have made me the most money, and I'll tell you the ones that actually are the most viable, and the ones that are really are not worth whatever they've been filmed for. So let's say you've done your budget. The next thing you're going to do is go through that budget with a fine tooth comb. Have a look through where actually can you start to make some drawbacks. If you haven't already hit that 50% mark, you're going to need to do this anyway. If you have hit that 50% mark and you think, do you know what, there's room to save even more, this is where you're going to start. You're going to start with things like your utilities. Are you already on a water meter? If you're not, then get yourself on one, because that is a most likely way of being able to save yourself some money, especially if you're just one or two people in a larger house. Other things you can do for your utilities, if you've not got the most economically run appliances, like you're not on a rating A or B for your fridge or your washing machine, have a look at whether it's time to upgrade and get in one of those. Do not go and spending extra money just because you want to try and reduce your overall monthly bills. But if it is time to get a new one of those appliances, consider a more energy efficient one. In the long term, you're going to save quite a lot of money on this. Have a look at things that you've got left plugged in all the time. Are the TVs actually plugged in and turned to the power on in rooms that you don't regularly go into? Have you got other machines that are constantly plugged in, whether it's power switches, whether it's for maybe a phone charger, computers, whatever else it might be? Have you got Alexa on in 6 different rooms in the house when actually you only use 3? Turn those systems off that aren't being used, because even though they are small little amounts, each of those small amounts definitely add up, and they start to make an impact on your overall annual and monthly outgoings. As you've gone and done your budget, you'll have no doubt have gone through your last few months of your bills, your outgoings, had a look through your bank statements. Ideally, you want to look through maybe the last 3-4 months to see exactly what is coming in and what is going out. You'll start to get a feel of what's consistent, what's regular, the things that you overspend on, the things that you can possibly afford to spend a bit more on. You might also start to spot some indiscrepancies. So things like you're paying for subscriptions that you know you've not really used, or maybe you've got lots of those extra TV channels that you think, you know what, I could do with those, but maybe you only watch one show every so often on them. You can definitely get rid of one of those. Not essential. Have you signed up to a gym membership a few months ago and then just not really made the most of it? Work out how much it's cost you for each one of those times that you visited the gym. Get it cancelled. If you find that you're missing it in a few months' time, get it resubscribed again. The next thing you're going to want to do is cashback. You will know I wax lyrical about Top Cashback, but there are other companies out there as well. But I have made well over £1,000 in the last year using Top Cashback. This has been a massive point for me, which has really helped boost my over £10,000 savings. It's everything that I've accrued. Now, if you're using something like Top Cashback, you've got the option of taking it out in vouchers and you can get a little higher percentage more. But for me, I take out the cash. So you don't get that 2.5 or 3% increase in vouchers that you might have got. But if I take the cash out and put it into a 5% cash interest account, I'm actually getting a better deal than if I got those increased percentage cashback in vouchers. So have a look at what you can do and what you can get from there. Everything should be going through that. Anything, if you do online grocery shopping, if you do any clothes shopping, if you do any buying of insurances or any policies, anything like that, you can get these back. You can even get money back for surveys on that site. I will leave a subscription link down below where you can get some extra cash as well if you're a new subscriber. I also get a kickback off of that, so that has really helped, and that's been a way of me being able to boost my income, my take home from Top Cashback in the last 12 months as well. I think it's great. There are other websites out there. Go for whatever you feel works best for you. I have never had a problem with Top Cashback. I think it's great, and that's just, it's not sponsored, but that is just me saying it's great. If you're going to spend the money anyway, you need to buy insurances anyway, you need to buy groceries anyway, you might need to buy gifts or, you know, holidays or whatever else it is that you buy. Do it through Top Cashback. It doesn't cost you any more money, and you get that extra little bit of change into your bank whenever you want to take it out. Mine accrued over a small period of time, and I was able to take out that really big chunk of change. It was fantastic. If you are working out of an office, not working from home, of course you need to be taking your lunch with you every single day. And coffees as well, things like that. I've sat down and looked and talked with friends, and they could spend £5, £6, £7 a visit. And the thing is as well, if they're going out, they're more likely to not just buy the lunch, they might buy something else ad hoc, like, oh, might as well spend my 45 minutes, my hour looking around the shops. I'm going to buy and spend something else. So it's like had that knock-on effect. It's an unnecessary knock-on effect, and you're just spending more money. If you're spending £5 a day over a month, £5 a day makes £25 a week, makes £100 for the month, and then some. Easily spend £200 a month on that. Work from home, another top tip is to make your lunch as well. I know people who actively order for the Deliveroo or the Just Eat or whatever it is to get delivered every single day to their home, even though they are sat in home, even though they are sat right next to their fridge where they could make a sandwich. If you prepare yourself a nice little packed lunch, especially if you've got children, you're making theirs, make your own at the same time. You'll look forward to it. You'll be less likely to go ahead and get the Just Eat or whatever it is, the delivery services for your lunch. It's a great way of staying motivated and making sure you are not spending too much. Treat yourself. If you think, you know what, I really feel like I've worked really hard today and I want a really nice lunch, then upgrade those food items that you give yourself at home. Buy the nicer bread, buy the higher quality of meat, buy the better organic vegetables, because ultimately, yeah, it might cost a little bit more, but it's going to cost you even less than keep getting those food items delivered. No spend month. I have just done another no spend month, but ultimately my whole year has been pretty much a low spend year. I've become so conditioned to not spending money, not going out and spending frivolously or unnecessarily. It becomes second nature. You think not just once or twice, you think 3 times about any purchases that you might make. And anything that I then do make is a really committed purchase. It's one that's really valid and really thought of. and one that I know I'm really invested in. It's not a whimsical, it's not a remedy because I'm having a rubbish day, it's not a throwaway thing that I've just spent on. I've really considered it, and it means that I'm much more likely to not spend money, full stop. I know people who have done this and they've never bought the same item ever again. I'm talking about people who've given up alcohol for like January and then never actually touched another drop for 2 or 3 years since. People who have given up cakes or crisps and said, you know what, I've managed this long without them, I don't need to do it. The next thing you need to do, if you're not already, is make sure you're setting up a minimum direct debit for any credit cards or loans that you've got going out. The worst thing you can do, especially with credit cards, is miss the actual payment date. Some companies will send you a message, they'll send you a reminder, but quite often, if you're like me, you forget. And in the past, I've had ridiculous charges because I've forgotten, even by a few hours or by the next day, that I meant to pay something and I had the money there, but because I've forgotten, I'm then whacked with another £25-30 charge on top of an already ridiculously overpriced credit card interest rate. If you set up for the minimum direct debit, but then try and make extra payments on top, you're going to avoid those charges, and that's going to be a massive help. If that's something that you know is your weakness, it's going to be a great way to start saving. Even if you think, do you know what, the reason I've not done it in the past is because I don't think I can afford to pay that minimum amount this month. Actually, when you consider the opposite, if you think, well, it's going to cost me £25 to miss this month, but how much then is that going to cost you over a period of time compared to, say, going into an overdraft for a few days? That means it's going to be a few pence compared to quite a few pounds. It's going to have to be a bit of a balance. Have a look at it and see what works best for you, but definitely try and make sure you're hitting those minimum targets. In the same way, as well as having those automated direct debits, have one set up for automated savings as well. Take the money out straight away. It's already gone into the savings account. You can touch it if you really need to, but actually if it's already there, it's out of sight, out of mind, and you're less likely to have to spend it. And it's getting interest, even if it's only in there for a few days, because later on at the end of the month you find, do you know what, I actually need some of that money or all of that money. It's gathered some interest over that short period of time that it has been in there. So put that automated, get it out straight away. You're less likely to be tempted, and it's a great way to start to force yourself to save money. And that being said, as well, on the back of that, make sure the account that this money is going into is on the best possible interest account that you've got. Don't just put it into your regular direct debit account. Make sure that it's in a higher saving interest account. I've got a 5.5% instant access savings account linked to my direct debit account. It's a really great rate, and there are some really good rates out there at the moment. You don't have to be tied in long term like you used to be for these high rates. At the moment, savings accounts and the saving numbers are in our favour. Get yourself locked into one, get it linked to your current account, whatever that might be, and make sure you're getting the most out of it. If you're using something that's got 0.5 or 1.5, anything like that, it's too little. Have a look around. It really doesn't need to be a massive job. 5-10 minutes, you can find yourself with a great new savings account, and you're already saving money on the money that you've already got. It's a compound interest. Leave it in there. Even if you put no more money in as of tomorrow, everything that you accrue in interest and keep building and building and building. It's a great way for compound interest to start making you money without having to do anything at all. Other money that needs to be going into these savings account are money that you get unexpectedly. So if you get gifted money for any reason, for a birthday, for a holiday, for just because, you know, you've gone to visit grandma and they've given you £100, it was money you weren't expecting. That doesn't mean, yeah, I've got £100, I can go out and buy myself a new bag. It means, yeah, I've got £100, I'm going to shove it into my savings account because you never had it in the first place. Therefore, you're not going to miss it in your regular day-to-day spending. Put it away, get it saved, and get that interest earning for you. If you get a bonus at work, or if you sell something on Etsy or eBay or Facebook Marketplace, get that money into a savings account. It's bonus money that you don't need. You've already done your budget. Your budget tells you that you can now live day-to-day quite happily, quite easily, without this extra money. Any extra money, get it put away. Do not be tempted to take it out around town, take it to the shops, get out with your girlfriends. Make sure it's put away and it is saved. Once you've done all your big budgeting audit, you've done all your incomes and outcomes, presumably if you have got credit cards or if you have got loans, it might be worth taking a look around and making sure you're on the best deal. So whilst you're looking for that good savings interest account, have a look. Can you switch over any of your credit cards that you're paying too much interest on? Can you get a 0% transfer deal on any credit card? Martin Lewis has got some great links on his website and they will tell you about whether you're likely to be accepted on any of these 0% interest credit cards. If it's telling you've got 9% chance or 8% chance, it is worth a gamble to try and get this 0% interest. Have a look at those. Definitely. So some of the ways that I have actually made extra money this year include, as well as a top cashback, I also received £1,300 as a payout from my stint on one of the quiz shows. If you haven't applied for one of these quiz shows, give it a go. You might win some money. I did. I got £1,300 paid into my account. I had a great weekend at the time. All the information is up on my Instagram and TikTok and you'll see these things. And I've mentioned it on my channel before and I finally got the payout last year. That money just went straight into my savings account because it was extra money I wasn't expecting. I didn't need it for anything. I just put it straight in there. I managed to make quite a bit of money as well from my Etsy store this year. I set up an Etsy store, which was very successful. It means that I not only now have given up my full-time job, I've also been able to double my income from over the last 6 months, and there's still quite a sizable chunk in that bank account as well. Really feeling quite lucky from that. I'm feeling like it's been life-changing, and that has been the biggest source of my over £10,000 savings that I've made over the last 12 months. Other side hustles that I have done include YouTube. I have managed to get quite a lot of savings from my YouTube channel. So every time you watch videos just like this one and you watch the adverts or even skip the adverts, it doesn't really matter. It means that I'm getting a certain amount of money. This particular niche of a channel is quite a lucrative one. So we do get quite a lot of change. That has really helped to build that cash pot really effectively, help me to save some money that way. I've also had a massive clear out this year and I've still got quite a lot more to do. I've got videos from over the last 12 months and some starting from this year where I have sold and just decluttered lots of things and got those items up and sold and just made some money, made some space, made some money, and all that has managed to go into my savings pot as well. I have written an ebook which is called Wherever You Will Go, and it is a romantic comedy which is up on Amazon and it's been published by KDP, which is a Kindle direct publishing website. It's been there for a few years, but that in itself is now passive income. I wrote that quite a few years ago, but it is still making sales and I'm still making money from that. And every month I get a little small amount of check that comes into my bank account, and that again, it just goes straight into my savings. It's not something that I need or I'm expecting, so it always goes in there. I don't use that for my budget. Anything that it comes from is a great bonus for me. Another way of making money is by setting up with some print-on-demand services that I have set up, which are resources for children. I utilise my skills as a primary school teacher, and all the resources that I make I have got up on a separate Etsy store, which basically means that I just have to sit back and wait for people to download it. I do a little bit of advertising via Instagram and TikTok so people know I'm around, but that in itself is making me lots of money. And coming up to the summer holidays, there'll be a lot more opportunity for me to grow that business as well as I start to help people who are ready for primary school and that leap, that change they're about to make where they need to start getting ready themselves. And I've got loads of resources ready for that as well. Again, it means that I've doubled my income because instead of just putting it all into savings now, I'm actually increased my actual monthly wage as well. So all these things ran up. So over the next few months, if you want to come along with the journey, I'm going to be setting up all these different ideas that I've been doing, all these side hustles, trying them out in real time so you can come along with me to see which ones are going to work. Were they just a fluke when I set them up the first time, or actually can we do them all again and can we do them together? If you're not already, follow me along on TikTok and Instagram because I'll be sharing the day-to-day things that I do all over on there so you can see exactly how much I make, if I make anything, as a brand new person, as a brand new store, as a brand new idea and a business. We'll do it together and see if it can work for a second time. And if it can, how much money can I make this year? Thank you so much for sticking around. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you really enjoyed everything that's been on this video today. And I hope to see you all again really, really soon. Bye.